By the way, I searched my YouTube channel for Marley.
Yeah.
You're in 2 videos.
Only 2?
Yeah.
I expected more.
Well, 2 that have your name in it, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I know that I'm in the one whenever you came down that one time that I took you to Jacksonville.
Yes.
Well, you can ask me because I don't really know what's happening.
All right. This is a camera.
Oh, I know what's happening. Okay.
It's video recording. We can record video on phones now.
That's... I come from the past, so...
Okay, so I'll do an intro and then you can talk over me if you want to.
Okay, are you gonna dance?
She expressed interest, well, she always rides on the back of my bikes, and she expressed interest in motorcycles in general. So when I was down in Florida in January,
Yes.
I asked you what your interest was in motorcycles, and I think you said...
Extreme. That's not what I said, but I said that I had it.
Yeah, she said positive, and then, so I don't know, I think I just paid for the class, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but I was nervous because I wanted to make sure you were absolutely okay with it.
Yeah. But it was like really quick though, because originally I was like, oh yeah, I'll probably do it within the next few months, and then like right when you go home, you were like,
Well, that's how I do things though. I just go for it.
yeah, which I appreciate, because I
'Cause I'll
thought that
forget.
it would be like months, but then like
I
you
lose
didn't
track of
notice,
shit.
like, it's like, because I thought I was gonna have to remind you actually.
And you were how old?
At 19.
19 years old. Which by the way, the reason why this is a cool video is because well, 2 reasons. The demographic of riders is getting older.
Mm-hmm.
She lives like 30 miles north of where Bike Week happens in Daytona every year. How old are most motorcycle riders?
Like 60.
Like 60.
Both of my trainers were like 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many of your friends from like high school or college ride motorcycles?
None actually.
Okay. I mean, they might know how to like ride, but they don't like ride every day to school or work or anything.
I don't have any friends that know how to ride a
Okay.
motorcycle actually.
What was their reaction to you taking a test? Was like, that stupid, or I'm using
No.
you for market research?
Yeah, they thought it was actually really cool. I think I only told like 3 people that I was like going.
Yep.
That I was gonna get it, and they thought that it was really cool, and they wished me luck, and they asked like if I was excited and stuff like that. And then I told one person, and they were like, "Oh, why?" And then I was like, "I don't know, because I like ride on the back of it, and I think it'd be really cool." And then they just didn't answer me, so
Oh.
I don't know what their support was, but the people that I said that I was doing it, they were excited because I was excited, so they were excited for me to.
But no one said like, Did anyone like say you're gonna like that's unsafe and you're gonna die?
No.
Oh, that's good.
I think, like, for a few days, Mom made jokes about, like, so many people dying, and then, yeah, but I think she was the only person that said anything
Okay.
like that.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Everybody was excited.
That's one thing, too, like, so about the demographics thing, the average age of motorcycles is getting older, and like, a lot of young people now don't even really care about a license. Like, they care when they have to care, but, like, for the most part, it's not like, when I was a kid, it's like, oh my god, you're 16, you have to get a license right now.
Yeah.
I know you cared, but like I know Cheyenne didn't wait. She was like 20 or something. Like.
Yeah, because other people like drove her around, so she said that she didn't care until she absolutely had to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so what? I guess you haven't. Well, you rode. So can I ask you like about the course? Like what were you expecting versus reality? Was it different than you were expecting?
Yeah, I expected it to be a lot more in class originally because they said that we would have class whatever, but it was honestly only the first I think hour and a half of the first day was in the class. Then we went out there and I thought it would be a lot more protected, like they wouldn't let you do as much stuff, but right when we got out there they just was like, okay, they asked us a few questions. They were like, alright, pick a bike, and then told us exactly what we were supposed to do.
They start off with like basically the clutch control, then pull the clutch and stop like that for like a whole 40 yards or something.
Yeah, it was like we I think we practiced putting it in neutral and then first, and then we did like the walk across where we would just walk it in neutral, and then like the turnaround or whatever, and then we just walked it back, and then we got into just riding it for a little bit, and then walking, turning, and then we got into the like riding in a small portion.
Yeah.
And then I think the most we did the first day was emergency braking, I think is the furthest we got.
So you weren't going around a standing still person. You were just basically coming to a stop, and they told you to stop basically. Like they'd yell it.
Yeah, they'd
Okay.
be like, okay, stop here, and then do the turn thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know the first day I asked you when you first called me, I said, how sore was your left hand? Because I remember my left hand the first day being like dead, basically.
Yeah, it was like driving on the way home was hard because I usually just drive with this hand.
Yeah.
And when I like went to turn, I didn't turn all the way. I got kind of scared, so I had to like use both my hands because I'm not used to like all that motion. But then by the second day I did it, I didn't even feel it.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And then you also had a problem with your bike where it was like it wouldn't go out of first or neutral, basically.
Yeah, it would come out of first, but only to go back in neutral. So I had to either hit it really hard or just stop the bike completely and then hit it. Also, I didn't know that to brake you have to pull the clutch all the way in. I had no idea.
Oh, so you stall it once?
I stalled it a few times the first day because I had no idea. And then whenever I realized, I was like, oh, that's what you have to do. And then I did it. But yeah, the first day is just the bike I had that wouldn't like leave neutral, but then the second day.
Yeah.
So.
Which is why a lot of new riders, like, they always say don't go out and just get like a sport bike that's brand new as your first bike, because like not all bikes have these crash bars on there just like that.
Yeah.
And everyone drops their first bike. Like you'll basically forget where you are, you'll come to a stoplight and you'll hit the brake and you'll come to a stop and like it dies under you and lurches forward and you drop it at a stoplight and like you don't get hurt, but it's embarrassing.
And also, I feel like that was one of the things that I was scared about was driving is like just in case I accidentally stall at a stoplight and then somebody goes and then you have nothing to protect you. So yeah. But by the end of it I got I think the second day I only stalled maybe once or twice, and on my test I didn't stall at all. So
how did the figure eight go? Like, you were nervous?
Yeah, but it actually went really well because first we practiced U-turns, obviously. So we did U-turns, and he was like, okay, just do a second U-turn. So he didn't present it to us as a figure eight, so we didn't know that we were supposed to be
That's pretty smart, actually.
Yeah, so he just did it, told us to do 2 U-turns, but with an S turn.
Oh.
So yeah, he didn't like present it to us, so we didn't have any time to be scared of it.
Yeah.
But then in the test we didn't even do a figure eight, we just did a U-turn.
Oh, okay.
And then we did like the peanut thing, so we were supposed to go really fast down the straight and then just like turn at whatever pace, but that was pretty easy. Since I'm used to like turning with you, I knew how to lean into it and stuff like that.
Which left or right? Which one was harder to do?
I think right.
It's always right!
Because we practiced left more the first day, so then the second day it was...
What ends up happening is, this is what I was told by my instructor, which is throttle controls with your right hand. Left hand is basically dead until you need to clutch. So what happens is it's very easy to use your left hand and push a left hand turn. You have to push, right? So you engage a left hand turn, you continue your throttle. When you engage a right hand turn, you have to push and keep your throttle on. So most people don't like going to the right side, basically.
Yeah, and oh crap! Yeah, it was that, and also whenever we like stopped from a turn doing that the first time turned from a stop is what I meant.
Oh, so wait, you come to a stop, right? You're pulling the clutch in. You're going to please stop. Do you put your feet down? Or you kind of just stand. Oh, okay.
Like at a stop sign, and then turning right. So I stalled out like 3 times doing that because that was. Was
it just the engagement of getting it going again? Okay.
Yeah,
so
and then
you came to a stop fine, but you just get it going. You were like, which is fine because honestly, all bikes have a different clutch engagement. So like some of them, I think this one here, I can even start it in second if I really kind of lug it a little bit. Whereas some of the sport bikes, you really need to get it. It's more grabby, basically. Yeah. But the BMWs are more friendly to like a very like slip it gradually in. But every bike's different. You got to learn them all, basically.
Yeah. And the second day because when we did the peanut thing, it was easier just to stay in second, and I just didn't want to shift when I was supposed to go fast. So I stopped and went from second really easily whenever I was doing that because we would have to wait until we could pull out. So we come to a full stop and then go, and I was able to do it in second. But I think it was just the first bike was really difficult for me, but the second bike was just easier. Do you understand? So the second day was a different motorcycle. Yeah. And it didn't have the same neutral first issues. Yeah, everything was fine on that one. I'm pretty sure it was the same model and make, but it was just, I don't know.
They're all little 125s. They're all like, I think 5-speed or 4-speed.
Yeah, I think mine the first day and the second day were the 2 smaller ones, so mine was 150 and the other ones were 250.
Oh, okay.
So I had, that's why the other one, the first one I had the second day that I thought was mine, but then realized it wasn't, was a 250, so it was heavier, so I needed to go back down. That's why they switched with me.
Did you ever forget to use your right leg for braking?
Actually, I used it too much.
Oh, okay.
At one point,
Did you drag the tire behind once?
Once, yeah. And then they were like, don't do that. And I was like, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't. And then I would put my foot down too early a few times. They would be like, you're going to break your ankle doing that. I was like, that makes sense.
Well, if you look at most of the bikes, the front brakes are gigantic. There's actually 2 rotors on the front on this one, and there's only one small one on the back. So really, it's like in your car too, the front one's bigger. It's just because the front takes more of the pressure. So a lot of people get in the habit of just using the front right lever, and it works fine, but they give you the idea of the stopping distance being a lot longer if you just use the front brake, basically.
Yeah, he had us like put cones down where he was stopping.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a good visual. I think it definitely.
Because that was just they just told us that in the classroom. We actually didn't test that theory on the pavement. So it sounds like, because I think in New Hampshire we had like 8 hours of classroom time. It was sort of 4 hours on Friday and 4 hours on Saturday, and then we had 10 or 12 hours total of road time in the parking lot. So like, it sounded like you did like 4 hours of classroom or 3 hours.
Yeah, it was definitely more outside because the first day we were inside for a little bit, then we had lunch, and then we went outside. And the second day we started outside, so it was most of the day outside, and then I think it was maybe 45 minutes inside, and then lunch, and then we took the tests, like the written test, because we took the road test first.
And I remember when I first told you this, I was like, honestly, just get it now because you have nothing better to do, but like you have less going right now than you will like in 10, 20 years, and it's good for the rest of your life.
And I'm gonna want to use it like more recently than if I were to get it later on, because especially like when I come here, it's more fun to have it now and be safe about it than 20 years from now.
Because all my bikes had ABS, which is a big one. Like you don't have ABS on those, but ABS is great because if you grab like a whole handful of brake, a non-ABS bike will basically lock up the front tire, and it'll basically introduce a skidding. Depending on what brake is locked up, front or rear, it'll introduce kind of a skid where you're going like basically sideways. But ABS basically will modulate the front brake so it doesn't lock it up completely, so you'll stop faster and it's not as scary. You won't fly off the handlebars or anything. ABS has a lot of weight, but it's just much safer. Like in fact, the insurance is like way cheaper than an ABS bike. I don't know why it's still optional on a lot of bikes, but it is. Any other observations of the weekend you want to talk about?
I feel like there was something, but I can't remember now. I don't know, but it just went a lot better than I thought it was, because originally like I wasn't scared because I know that I knew like some of the things to do riding with you, so I went into it with like a decent amount of confidence, so I wasn't scared, but I definitely didn't think that I was going to be able to pick it up as quickly as I did. So whenever I got out there and I was like doing it and I was shifting and doing the things that I was supposed to do, because whenever we were in the classroom, I wasn't paying attention at all. Then they were like, oh, this is where this is, this is where this is, and I literally just, like I was looking, but I wasn't listening to him. So when we got out there and he told us where it was again, I was like, thank God, because I forgot.
But you and I are more visual learners too. Like I don't like classroom time.
So when we got out there and he told us where everything was, what everything was, I was like, oh, I just learned this, I'm going to mess up. And then I did it, and it was fine. So I was actually really surprised with how well I did.
One thing I noticed after I took the class was that I started noticing motorcycles like in movies and outside a little bit more now. Because it gave me like a different self-awareness toward it. I don't know, like, and even before, because I bought a motorcycle, then I took the class, and then I waited like a month to actually get on the bike because I was so nervous. So I just had a bike sitting there, but like even after the class, I just kind of felt like a better understanding for what riding a motorcycle requires. A lot of people, they rode them as kids, but we rode like four-wheelers. We didn't ride motorcycles. So like I think all of ours, they had shifters, but on the 4x4s it was like a thumb thing. It wasn't a throttle thing. So I learned a lot that weekend for sure, just about bikes in general.
It also made me a better driver too, because it made me more aware, because usually whenever I stop, I stop a little closer to people, or I don't give myself like the amount of space, but whenever they tell you about, always have an escape plan and that kind of stuff, it made me realize like that I wasn't driving as like safely as I should, so then I started driving better too.
But it's weird how that wasn't included in our driver's test in Florida. Like I never looked at my rearview mirror when I was at a stop sign, but when I got a bike, I'm always looking at my rearview mirrors now, because I want to make sure the person behind me isn't like looking down their phone and then like hitting me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if they hit you on a bike, obviously you're going to break your spine. So it's a little bit more serious. So yeah, I find myself like moving to the outside lane, watching if there's someone there. I'm ready to. There's a lot of bikers get in the habit of putting their bikes in neutral at stop signs or red lights, and I never do that just because I always feel like I'm just ready to
Yeah,
you're
he's
going
supposed to always keep it in first.
Yeah.
To always make sure that we're prepared.
Yeah, that's just one thing and it obviously you're holding your clutch, so it's heavy, but you just get used to it.
Yeah, like I was completely okay with being stopped and holding it the second day. I didn't really even notice. Because it was I think it was only whenever he was showing other people and we were in a line, that's when I put it in neutral, because it took like 10, 15 minutes.
So it's cold stone muscles.
Yeah.
Get that,
exactly.
Yeah.
You just used to scooping.
So as far as like the next 5-10 years as an individual, is it a goal to something to keep that in your back pocket till you're kind of like financially able to get something, or is there an interest level? Like, what would be the driving force of getting a motorcycle? Would it be like to travel, to save money on gas, to commute? What's the most interesting part about it besides just having fun riding it?
Well, a little bit of all of it, because I think that it would be easier or more fun to like go from home to work, and it would just be easier because it is a little quicker and you can move better, and I just think that would be cool. And then also traveling, like if I were to get like one of the ones that I guess you had before, that was the ones
smaller.
that you I took the trips on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be really fun because I like the idea of having like less stuff, and in a car I feel very compacted, and like whenever I took that road trip last year, I just felt like a lot because there was no space to do anything. But I would feel like more free on trips and stuff like that. So just like a mixture of all of it, I think.
It's tough on a bike. Like it seems fun, and then you realize like you're just getting beat in the face with wind all day. Like I can do a 1,000-mile trip in my car. Like I drove from Asheville to home in one day, which is 17 hours. I can't do that same trip on a bike. It's like I can do like 700 miles in a day instead of 1,000 on a bike, which is a lot for a bike. But like that's the one thing is you do, because you're getting hit with in the wind in the face all day, it wears you out faster because your senses are constantly being worked, and instead of like just holding a steering wheel and cruise control, you're constantly using your hands, and it kind of like, so it's less efficient because not only you can't store as much stuff, but also you're in the wind and the rain, that kind of thing. I certainly find it's more enjoyable if I don't have to be somewhere like tomorrow. It's more fun to do that. And they're all reliable now. It's not like back in the day where like cars and bikes, they broke down all the time. But like these days, as long as you change the oil, it's gonna last forever. Like this bike is 25 years old, and I picked it up with, it had old oil in it. It had like old original spark plugs, all that kind of stuff. I picked it up and rode it 600 miles home, and the only problem I had was the braking was like really shitty. But that's because the brake lines are rubber and they're like old.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, like I think biking is fun. It's just you're gonna have to set yourself up to like fitting all your stuff into like that back to your right. Like all your stuff goes in there, or it goes in some boxes on the side, and like that's all you have.
Yeah.
But that can be liberating too, because like you said, you don't have you're forced to constrain your life to like 80 liters of space, which can be cool to some people.
Yeah, I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah, I was thinking like knowing you, I was thinking like what would be a bike that like Marley could get, like that would be like appropriate for St. Augustine Beach to work, and like up to Asheville, which is 8 hours north, or over to like if you want to go to Austin, or like I rode my bike all the way to Florida, which I took 5 days to do it, which is a really slow pace, but it was a nice leisurely pace. I didn't take interstate, I took back roads. Like what would be a bike that can do all that? It's really hard to find that because like most people around Florida just have sport bikes because they're small and light, but then you can't put anything on them. It's just you in a backpack. So that doesn't really work for touring, although I know of some people that like do cross-country trips on them, and it hurts because you're like hunched over the whole time and you have to shop for gas every 75 miles. And then these kind of bikes aren't fun in traffic because they're like 650 pounds. And this thing also is like 500 pounds, so like that's also kind of a heavy bike for a new person. So it's hard to pick.
When I looked at all the types, I think the one that I liked the look of and the kind of, I don't know, just like all aspects of it was just the dual ones where you can do like all sorts of stuff on it. Because I don't really like sport bikes because I'm like, while I like going fast, I'm scared to go too fast. And then the touring bikes I feel like are just for old people.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, like the ones where you can do like a little bit of both on are the.
Yeah, the only problem with those is my dirt bike basically is considered a dual sport, even though it's more dirt bike than dual sport. It's comfortable because you're upright, you're not hunched over, you're also not leaning back like you're on a Harley. But the problem with that one is there's no wind protection at all.
Yeah.
So you're like, if I do a 300-mile day on that bike and a half, it's hard. Whereas this thing has this big ass windscreen, and like you're like in a bubble. You're just cruising.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's almost as if like it would make sense that you got a really like general purpose upright dual sport for your first bike, and like whenever many years from now, and like basically the first couple years just be around town or like maybe to Orlando or something.
Yeah, which is probably what I would do, because I don't think that within the first few years I would really take the risk of like traveling too far, just because I'd want to like get used to how it is and stuff like that. So if I did take a trip, yeah, like you said, it'd probably only be like a few hours, something like that.
And you work up to it. You have to kind of like take it one step at a time. Yeah, I didn't do that on mine, but I just jumped right into things.
That is true.
But so, I guess that's pretty much all I wanted to ask you about. And I think it's unique to do a video of this, not because I'm exploiting you, but because I think a lot of people that are riders that watch these videos, they're in the demographic of like 49 to 70. And when I go to these BMW club meetings, it's always, how do we reach the kids? You know, that kind of thing. And like, it's good to ask that, but when you're asking a bunch of guys and girls at your age, you guys are all like 30 years disconnected from what would inspire you to do it. So I think, you know, part of me wanted to capitalize on like, if you're interested, let's just get your MSF now.
Yeah.
And just do it. And then if you're still interested in it, then at least you'll be a little more comfortable about going into a showroom, just sitting on something and just trying it out. And then when you have money, get something for like $2 or $3 grand, and that's like great for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there's a disconnect between the people that are trying to attract the youth, but like not actually talking to youth. And so that's why I wanted to at least ask you these questions. I know I don't know if we really learned anything today, because everyone's different.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't know. I think like with you doing it, I think that it made me like look into it and realize that it can be fun, because before I didn't really look at, because like you said, you know, we ride 4-wheelers and that's about it, and that's
or horses, you know, they did stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it feels a lot like between horses and 4-wheelers. It feels a lot alike.
Yeah.
So.
Did they talk to you about why the bikes lean to the left? Did they talk about that? So the kickstand's always on the left-hand side, because these were invented from people that already rode horses. And you always get on the horse on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
So they basically designed bikes to be leaned over on the left side, and you get on the left side, basically.
That makes sense. Oh, yeah, I don't think he told us. I think the most he told us was like why policemen get on the right side.
Oh,
and that's
okay.
about it.
Why is that?
Because like the traffic and stuff, they don't want to be hit, so they get on and off on the right side, so that they won't hit them. Yeah.
I know some people that do get on the right side. It's just a matter of preference, but they always lean to the left. So
yeah, I feel like it's easier to get off on the left side, because I did that on accident one time, just because I'm right-handed, so I do everything right. So whenever I leaned and stopped, I got off on the right side, and it just felt weird, because everything's that way, so when you get off the other, it's strange.
The first bike I had, I dropped on the left side every time. I never dropped on the right side, so when the bike was done, like the left side was just completely destroyed, and the right side was brand new.
Yeah.
But every time I like would hit a mud pile, I was off road. Every time I hit like a mud pit, I would just push left or something. I don't know. There's no way I was always falling left without my own, like I was doing something weird.
Yeah, it's probably your fault.
Yeah, definitely. So I fall less now, but I still fall a lot. But that's part of the joy of these kind of bikes. So they just come with the shit to just basically, like, you can just beat the crap out of them. And that's all the dual sports are like that. Like, I crashed my dirt bike off-road, and like all that I broke was a mirror.
Yeah.
Like, and if you drop this one off-road, you'll probably crack the engine casing, and then you're waiting for a tow truck. So it's just, I think in Florida, the dual sports are fun because there's so many, like, just back roads. They go to Placa, and you just play around.
Yeah, and even going to, like, grandma's house, like, you can take back roads all the way there, and that's pretty fun. But yeah, the ones that we practiced on didn't even have mirrors or anything on them.
Yep.
So the only thing that I didn't learn how to do, which is super easy, is just like turn signals and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I mean, I knew where they were, so it's easy whenever I do see them.
Plus, every bike is different. Like, this bike has turn signals on left and right, which I don't like, because if you have the right one, that means you're kind of taking your hand away from the throttle to hit the right one.
Yeah.
This one, they're both on the left side.
I feel like that's easier, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just like more of the modern bikes all had them on the left side, because why would anything be on the right side? Because you don't want to take your hand off the throttle.
Yeah, even in cars, they're all on the left side, so that's, it's kind of dumb, but
yeah,
whatever.
Cool. It was probably like 20 minutes, so no one's watching anymore.
That's fine.
Anything else you wanted to add?
No.
Okay. Cool.
Sick.
I'm not doing that. All right.
Okay.